a Sunday night DC Watch? What the hell? Hey, everybody, it's DC Watch, the Peacemaker Season 2 edition. And we've got the usual suspects here, our DC Watch gang. All right, immediately to my left, I've got Dave Bratton. Dave, recently from the New York Comic-Con. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, everyone. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, jealous.
And right below me, we have the one, the only Chris Bigger, Mr. DC himself. How are you?
Feeling ginger cool.
Ginger cool. Look at that. Oh, my God, I wish I was ginger cool, but I'm not. I'm gray hair cool. And diagonally down, we have Lenny, otherwise known as Pretty Fly for a Filipino guy. How you doing, Lenny?
Good.
Lenny,
Sacha Bardo, I love you.
I want to make this clear. This is not about Zack Snyder. It's just not about Zack Snyder. Okay?
It will be.
Okay?
The night he does.
All right. We have a few people watching. I'm sure they'll come in as we go
It's
along.
like Peacemaker Season 2. Oh.
So, look, Doug is here. Hi, Doug. Doug Bratton. Doug is here, but he says he's going to have to leave once we start talking about potential spoilers, because obviously he hasn't watched the whole thing. Why? I don't know. He's probably making believe like he's working or something like that. Or trying to get a comic book named Isolation.
Doug, there's something in the show that you will not see coming. So Jackson is also at Metarogs. Jackson is here. Metarogs and Comic Mag Musings Metal Men Retrospective. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm glad you guys are here. And Jackson, I'm glad you're like sneaking in now and then. That's fantastic. Anyway, so we're here. Peacemaker Season 2 just finished. And I don't know what these guys are going to say. All right. But what I know is I thought it was damn good. And I think it really followed the Superman movie almost perfectly because it had its own storyline, but it played into it. And as James Gunn said, the ending, which we haven't mentioned yet, will play directly into the next Superman movie. I don't know about the Supergirl movie, but the Superman movie. So what did you guys think about Peacemaker as a whole?
Who wants to get us going?
Why?
I think it's better if I go last.
That's true. He won't stop talking. You know?
Go for it, Chris.
Okay, for me, enjoyed it. 7 of the 8 episodes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, 7 of the 8. I was
you didn't like the nudity in that was it? Or was that your favorite episode? I'm confused.
Like me being ginger cool, you would think that I would like all 8 episodes, but I guess I had a little bird blindness, and the last episode didn't hit so well with me.
No,
Dave.
I'll say this.
Talk about that. I can kind of understand that, Dave.
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I really liked season 1. I thought the villains in season 1 that was a strange choice by Gunn. Basically alien butterflies. I love the setup for this and how they handled it. I thought it was fantastic. Chris, I hear you on the finale, but I think that's more about episodes 6 and 7 being unbelievable. They were unbelievable. And 8 really went sort of in a different direction. And I didn't think it was as exciting as 6 or 7,
right?
But
I like how it dealt with the characters, and that's really what this season was about. And same with the first season. That's James Gunn.
Don't you think, Dave, that episode 7 could have been the finale?
No,
I mean, and 8 became something else. I agree. I'm saying that I kind of agree with you.
Yeah,
I mean, 6 built into 7, so fantastic.
Oh, they were amazing. Gunn said,
so 8 was like, let's pull back and let's do the setup.
So 8 really, what 8 did is there were things that the entire season alluded to, like the boat scene, like, something happened on the boat. We knew what it was, and episode 8 tells us. Yeah, there was like no superhero action in episode 8. And I felt like, I don't even think he wore the costume in episode 8.
I don't think so either.
Oh, Chris.
It
Oh,
was
Chris.
different that way. But even however you feel about it, as a whole, as a season, I thought it was fantastic. So,
how about you, Lenny?
It's almost polar opposite of Dave, but I did enjoy. To be honest, I did enjoy some stuff, but had had the season 2 been more compressed to a fewer episodes, I think I would have liked it even more. It's like there's so many things that just felt like filler, and like the Eagly stuff being hunted down. Like, where did that go? Like,
I think that was great.
Yeah, you thought so?
Yeah.
It was like, what was the point of that? What
The point was to get his friends into the movie
Yeah.
and give him a part in the movie.
Okay.
I mean, that's obvious, but the whole Eagly thing, I mean, it gave Eagly a new dimension, basically, that we hadn't seen before.
Eagly had plenty of dimensions in the first season. Like, he was, they were amazed how someone like Eagly can have these human emotions, that he would hug Chris, when he's down, and we got all that. I just, like I say, if you cut that out, the incessant like vigilante mammal, and I know this animal. I was like, come on, you're taking 2 minutes now from the show. And then obviously the last season was like the last episode of the season was like the longest one. For what? Just so that we could see 2 weird montages. Is like, it's just, I don't know. It had to be more compressed and took out some of the stuff that usually annoys me about a gun project. I probably would have liked the season even more.
Look, it was very gun in a lot of ways. So if that's not your
that's
cup
why
of tea, I get it. I thought the Eagly stuff made sense. Like, I thought it was organic to the story. Now, also at times it went further, because Gunn will really dig in deep, and take it to some really weird places, and he did. That's Gunn. So I can see not loving that, but the weird, strange stuff didn't.
Lenny's problem is he's
good
in LA in the movie industry, so he looks at everything through the prism of
if you can cut
a movie person. That's the problem.
If you cut out a scene and it's still, the story still remains intact, then get rid of that.
Well, then we need to talk about the Snyder Cut, Lenny, because you can cut a heck of a lot out of that.
Sure. The original Snyder Cut was not 4 hours long. It was 3 hours and 30 minutes long.
Didn't mean to digress, but yeah.
But I'm saying,
here we go.
No, I mean, we could use more singing Icelandic maidens. Anyway, but that's my point. Like, I mean, if he cut it down, I think the pacing would have been better, But ironically,
let me ask you a question. When you're watching this stuff, do you sit down there and say, "Oh, you should have cut this out"?
Yes.
I mean, is that happening while you're watching the shows?
My wife could tell. She'd look at me.
I feel sorry for you if that's the case. You got to sit back and enjoy the thing. Let it happen to you.
No, but that's how my mind works. I mean, not just the cutting, but the story stuff too. It's like, where's this going? Like, what is this? That's the thing about James Gunn. I've noticed also in Superman, where he has great ideas, but they don't go anywhere. For example, in Superman, he had this wonderful scene in the kitchen between Clark and Lois about Superman's jurisdiction and all that stuff. But where did that go after that scene? There was no mention of it ever again. I mean, you got the Justice Gang, killing the president of whatever that country was. Well, it's like, but
not to turn this into a Superman review, it did. I mean, the Justice Gang wasn't gonna help because of that. Like, the lines that have been drawn that Superman crossed, they didn't want to.
I'm saying, like, in terms of like writing a story where you have like a theme that kind of like poses a question,
right?
Then the movie kind of answers it by the end.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I thought, anyway, that's Superman.
The reason why I brought that up is because a good example was like, after the reveal of Earth X, what happened to that? They left and moved on to the next thing. It's like,
but see, Earth X wasn't that. That wasn't about Earth X. It was about Chris Smith.
Right.
I wanted to talk about him as a character, and there's a lot. Like, I can't wait to get into that, because I have a lot to say about that.
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to it. But I'm saying, like, like James Gunn brought something cool, but then he quickly moved on to the next thing. And in my opinion, just to move on to the
I don't
next joke.
understand that.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
Earth
don't
X
see it
is
that way.
Earth X was important because of the nature of what was going through Chris Smith in Peacemaker's mind, and his feeling that on his Earth he was not appreciated,
right.
you know, and that and he was basically in love with Harcourt, but in this new Earth he actually, I think, was married to her and divorced or whatever, you know, and
But you
he
didn't need
actually made
Earth
the
X to
connection.
show all that. It's like, I mean,
What's
had
that?
they spent more time in Earth X, like, you know, like really figuring out if he really wants to be here because it makes him happy despite that it's a terrible world. It's like they could have explored that even more, but he just you know, had that killed his father and oh, sorry, spoilers. But you know, Vigilante killed his father and then just moved on. That's it, you know.
I see that very differently. He, by stumbling into that. Okay, and we're getting into spoiler territory for anyone watching that hasn't watched the series. When he stumbles into a different universe that's very similar but has some really big differences, he feels loved there. He thinks this is the right place because this is where I found my family who I don't have here, who I killed. I find a woman who loves me in this all other Earth, which I don't have here. So he believed he was going to a place where he could be loved. And the ironic thing in the end was the people who loved him were here the whole time and they went to bring him back.
Get all that. But here's my question.
I know you get it, but yeah.
Here's my question to Dave.
Yeah.
Would it have been more of a compelling season had they spent more time with that? Like, hey, you have everything in this world that you want, but it's a Nazi world. Instead of having this 1 hour episode of like a band playing and dancing, and spend more time with, you know, that would have been made for would have been made for a better season, you know. But
I mean, that's now you're talking about rewriting it. Well, I mean, maybe I don't think so. I thought it worked great the way it did. I really liked it. Now I'm seeing people not liking the finale. I'm like, the finale did something we didn't expect.
Sure.
And there was a part of me that was like, oh, I was kind of hoping
finale didn't meet up to a lot of people's expectations.
No, and it didn't. It was very different than 6 and 7. Again, like I said, 7 could have been the finale. 8 was different. He put 8 in there for a different reason. It was not really part of the story, except as Dave said, it explained some openings, some things that we didn't really understand from the first 7 episodes.
Yeah.
But it really was setting up. He said it himself. It's extremely important. The whole salvation thing was extremely important to the DCU going forward.
That's the story he wants to tell.
Yeah,
and that's a big deal.
I came to watch Peacemaker, not Salvation Run. I mean, like,
oh, come on!
But
come on! You're a big guy. You're a big guy on having continuity and all that. You always talked about that.
No, totally. But if that's the sole reason, that's it. There's no story point to it or related to it.
It explained stuff that happened before.
That whole thing. It was about the characters.
Chris, help us, Chris.
And that is Chris Smith. That is Peacemaker's arc, which began in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Think about where he started in Suicide Squad.
Right.
He was a really bad dude. He was essentially, in a lot of ways, one of the main villains in Suicide Squad. He murdered Rick Flag Jr. You know, and Rick Flag Jr.'s, you know, final line is Peacemaker. What a joke. Right. And he was a villain, and that's kind of where his story continued. He does a complete 180. By the end of the series, he is the hero. And I love that it kind of switched because Rick Flag Sr. is now the villain at the end. Yeah. You know, and you understand his motivations. I totally got it when he threw Peacemaker into the Salvation Run, you know, prison. He said, "That's for Ricky, you piece of shit." I got why he did that.
Totally.
This guy murdered his son. I get it.
But Dave, he was already a hero at the end of season 1.
Yeah, but not the way he was in season 2 in terms of who he was internally as a character, because he was the kind of guy who would kill his partners if he was asked to. And at the end of this one, he was the one who, when he walked out, said, "This was on me." They're the ones who convinced me to bring it back. He became. This was all a character arc for him, and at the end, he's, like I said, the polar opposite. He stood up for his friends. He made sure his friends were okay instead of turning on them like he did at Suicide Squad.
And I think at the end of season 1, I think it was still a question whether he had made the full transition. I mean,
I don't think he had fully made it.
I saw he regressed. He even called himself the Angel of Death after that scene.
Well, he was literally reliving his trauma. He was watching he watched his father die, again, spoilers, and he was watching his brother die again.
Sure.
So all he could see is, this is all because of me. If I hadn't been here, these people are alive. If I hadn't punched my brother, if I hadn't shot my father in the head, like, all these people die. Rick Flag Jr., they die because of me. And that's where Adebayu's amazing scene at the end, it was incredible, where she explains to him that the people that you love die when you don't listen to yourself, when you listen to other people. It was incredible scene. The acting, and we haven't even talked about the rest of the cast.
The acting was great.
Phenomenal.
No, totally.
Phenomenal.
I do agree with that.
I'm talking a lot. I'm going to step back for a second.
Well, you got to think too, the demons that Chris is fighting in his head with everything. When the season starts, he's happy and he gets an interview with the Justice Gang. So, I mean, confidence level is here.
Yeah.
Then when he goes to the interview, we all know how it ends. And then, of course, now his confidence level is back here. And that starts messing with his head. Am I the good guy that I think that I am? Thought I was a hero, thought I'm doing good, but now I'm getting rejected and made fun of by the heroes. So, I mean, that's a big shot to his ego.
Go back to Rick Flag Jr.'s, what a joke. They were treating him like a joke.
Yeah. He was still the joke. He was their punchline.
But he saved the world at the end of season 1, and he was recognized for that, according to Sasha Bordeaux. He even told who was she was talking to Economos. And then she was like, we're giving a pardon because you just saved the world. And that's why Economos didn't want to give the file to Rick Flag because he was trying to protect him. But he was like, but he's a hero, so he's like, cleared of all that and stuff like that, or something.
And that's
like
the thing; it's not just about how he's perceived; it's about who he is as a person. And he may have been considered a hero at the end of season 1. He became a whole person by the end of season 2. Like, he was healing. And I don't know that he was at the end of season 1. He had a ways to go. He did the right thing. He saved the world, obviously, but he always believed himself to be the hero.
But I found that the heroic moment of season 1, I think, was more evident than just them walking out of like a building called Checkmate, which we'll probably get to later.
Oh no. And like I said, I don't even think this was about him becoming a hero. He was. It was about him accepting himself as a hero.
It was personal.
As a person, he just it was a very emotional, personal journey versus, I say that, like, they really didn't save anything. There was no Darth Vader villain exactly in this film.
No, Pretty Fly. Here's the thing: you are so well adjusted, you can't see this. Dave and I are so far out. We see the personal angst and the problem because we've gone.
I'm seeing the world in Snyder-colored glasses.
Well, speaking of Snyder, Joe, what did you think how the season 1 recap went when they took the whole Snyder out of the whole? How did you think it went?
And the Justice Gang, retcon. I mean, I think that was really, that's part of the whole thing. When you go back to, Suicide Squad, the James Gunn Suicide Squad, right? Most of that is canon. I don't know who Harley Quinn is or whatever, but or whether that's canon because of the situation, but most of that was canon. It had to be because of Rick Flag Sr.'s whole thing goes back to
David Ayers
killing his son, right? Yeah. And him being, and the whole idea of Chris Smith, his internal voyage, to becoming a good person, basically, Then you take a look at that and you say, because I always thought about myself, well, how are they going to do that ending, where he comes up and he criticizes the Justice League. Well, it ends up being the Justice Gang.
Yeah.
They have them there. I thought that was a pretty cool way of doing it.
Yeah.
And so that became part of canon. That whole ending, where he's carrying, he's carrying Harcourt out or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lambaste them for being too late to show up and all that type of stuff like that.
That's why Lenny's so mad.
Exactly.
Well, it would have been cool though if he had that one door for the Snyderverse and the other door, the Gunverse. That would actually create a clean separation, because in terms of continuity, it's a little bit confusing because Rick Flag also goes all the way back to David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and even in this season they referred to not Raven. What's her name?
No, I know who the Enchantress.
Enchantress. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, this helped you conjure up her name. I did the Enchantress dance from that.
No, I just remembered.
Okay. But so I guess it's getting a little messy, right? But I guess they come up with like a little door of like the Snyderverse, hey, that would have made a lot of us happy.
That would have been cool.
Did you hear that he talked to Ryan Reynolds about
Yes.
Deadpool behind one of those doors?
That would have driven Pretty Fly crazy.
Well, Zach wanted to use Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern. But,
the Cavalrine.
Yeah. But but that's my point though. Like, it is getting a little messy because you're still referring back to the DCEU in certain things.
When
but I thought the doorways would have been a perfect device to kind of create a clean.
See Henry Cavill in the Superman suit and be like, oh
Sure.
wait, and they could literally close the door.
But at least that'd
be terrible, but hilarious.
But I'm not sitting in Warner Brothers, so.
Taylor has a comment here about the finale being an epilogue. I would argue it was a prologue and an epilogue, because it filled in the blanks about the boat and what happened with Harcourt at the Big Belly Burger, and like it served a really different purpose than I was expecting. And there's a part of me that didn't love that, but I think I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to start with Suicide Squad. Like, I want to kind of see Peacemaker's story from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think I'll be okay with it. Joe.
I thought about doing that too.
My daughter tells me about 3 weeks ago. She says to me, hey, Dad, I saw this show Peacemaker. Do you know about it? I said, yeah.
Of course.
She says, I just started watching the second season, obviously, she's talking about. And I told her, I said, no, stop.
Stop.
I said, you have to first watch the Suicide Squad movie from 2022. Said, then you got to watch Peacemaker. I said, Peacemaker season 1.
Yeah.
So then you got to watch Superman. I said, and then watch Peacemaker season 2. She says, what? She's a doctor. She goes, I don't have time to watch all that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought you said stop because there was a coke-induced orgy scene in the first episode.
I haven't seen that in a superhero movie too often.
No.
But you're right. I think, Dave,
it was pretty titillating.
Now that we've gotten this, I think it's not a bad idea for us DC fans to, go back and just like we've done with some of the Snyderverse stuff, go back and start watching them again. Just watch through that because you see it in a slightly different light now.
Yeah.
I did that with Superman.
A lot of other movies that we see multiple times, you'll see something now that you didn't notice before. And I love that part about going back and watching a movie a second or a third time.
I doubt Peacemaker feels like the same character.
No, I went back and rewatched Superman, and it's crazy to see how Rick Flag Sr. act in Superman compared to how he was acting in
by the end.
It was that was pretty neat. Just how his demeanor and everything he was thinking was
he became a villain. He became the villain.
Well, I did read this morning. I don't know. Of course, it's all rumors that in the end, the last episode, that wasn't him. It was Clayface. This was a big thing I was reading.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So too.
I heard something about that too.
When Harcourt goes to him and calls him Rick, and he was just like confused.
Yeah,
everybody is saying that that's not him. It's Clayface.
No, for me, I thought it was Clayface when I was watching it because he was such a different character. Because like his especially come from a military background, you're seeing his men die every time to go to a portal, and then he's just like partying and
laughing it up with losers.
and that was like, okay, this doesn't seem like Rick Flag. Could this be Clayface? Is this a way they're going to introduce Clayface? Because I don't know if you guys have seen Creature Commandos.
Yeah,
did you watch it? Yeah, he had this big fight against
Clayface.
Yeah, right. And it's weird because if you watch that, Rick Flag was a wreck. He was pretty much like at the end of like, it was like Batman at the end of Nightfall. That's how in bad shape Rick Flag was.
Now you want to hear something different? I'm sorry, Lenny. Go ahead, finish.
No. That's why it was kind of odd that he's actually even functioning in this season, because.
But I was thinking about this from the beginning, not the very beginning, but as he started to kind of change the way he acted, and he's getting more, I don't know, evil maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I just started thinking he had gray or white hair in Creature Commandos, and he has dark hair here.
There's a reason for that. Yeah,
it was an extra. So go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's because he's filming Tulsa King.
Yeah,
that's why. That's the only reason.
Maybe that's Clayface filming Tulsa King.
There you go.
I think what it is, and Lenny, and this is where the Snyderverse is going to come in handy. What's Alfred's line about turning good men cruel?
Yeah. Fever, the rage, the powerlessness of what turns evil men, or good men,
I think
cruel.
Rick Flag in Superman, he was reluctant. You could tell he didn't like arresting Superman. He apologized to him basically, and then once the metahumans invaded, and this is where that paid off, Lenny, about the boundaries. They're just going to do whatever the heck they want. How are we going to respond to that? They kind of dealt with that and showing the Justice Gang going over and getting involved, and then the Department of Justice or whatever whatever that group is like, this is a new day because they're making the rules now. So how do we respond? So I thought it tied all of that stuff in pretty neatly.
I thought the whole point, though, was that he's seen Superman do good things, and he's a metahuman along with the Justice Gang, so he was less...
Right, but he's seen them also do it in spite of international law.
Sure.
Like, he's like, yeah, they did a good thing, but they ignored,
But to create metahuman Australia over that, it's just weird,
You know what? Like he said, they keep
said,
escaping,
right?
and they keep doing all these horrible things.
Mhm.
So I like what. And have you guys read Salvation Run, the miniseries?
No, I didn't. No.
I have. So when I saw that, I'm like, I know exactly what they're doing. I love this. The only thing I don't understand is they really haven't filled out this DC universe yet. So I'm like, who are they going to put into it? Like, the Joker's a pretty major character. There is no Joker yet. So, okay. We'll see.
It could be one of those things that just by name, it's like Checkmate's not really...
That's not how it was written into the comics.
It's not a front for a spy agency. It's like it's an underground
it's like they've got a storefront like Target. It's not exactly
no.
Super spy.
So Rick Flag Sr. has gotten so far into his hatred of Peacemaker and his concern about the superheroes that he feels he should. And laughing it up with the minions of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I mean, Lenny, you're right. When these people were dying, he didn't give a damn about it. I mean, he became, almost I don't know, like someone
or like he's just caught up with, using this as a tool to take out Peacemaker. I guess he was just so caught up in that. I guess.
Yeah, it seems that way. And I guess the superhero thing, though, I think the Peacemaker thing is really it. I mean, once he got Peacemaker in there, I think he's happy. But I think he had to make a deal with Lex Luthor that this is where we're going to put these, metahumans, because they basically are taking over, And Lex Luthor, if you think about it, Rick Flag and Lex Luthor are almost on the same plane. In some ways, because Rick Flag, because of what's happening, and he's running Argus, his feeling is, at least partially, let's put the Peacemaker thing aside, that he has Argus, but he can't control these metahumans. He can't control them.
Right.
So, and they basically are making him less than what he was supposed to be. And Lex's whole thing is, Superman supposedly is what, maybe 3 years or 4 years active, something like that in the movie. Before that, I think Lex was the superhero. He was the main man,
Right.
And when Superman comes by with his smile and the dimples and the curly Q, whatever, and everybody's like, Superman, and so I could understand him saying, "What the F?"
Yeah.
What happened? I was the savior. I was the person making all this stuff up and everything, and I was loved, and I was on the front page of the Daily Planet. And now everything is Superman. Well, and so in some ways they've kind of reached an understanding because they have the same type of emotional angst or response to this stuff.
They have been diminished, and they are not okay with it.
They're not okay with
it.
Right.
Yeah, but man, but then that just makes Amanda Waller so much better because she was able to control metahumans. If you go back to David Ayer's Suicide Squad, just implanting explosives in their head, he was able to control Killer Croc. Well, the whole idea of Task Force S was being able to control these metahumans to do stuff for the government. So
but like Rick Flag, they were all expendable, and his people, for him to accomplish what he wanted to, his people were expendable.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, Amanda Waller was able to control metahumans.
The ones she could put bombs in their heads. Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's see. The last, Rick Flag and Lex Luthor are the most human characters to see you, for better and more importantly for worse. They're self-appointed heroes who've lost themselves in grief, envy, and impulsivity. Yes. You notice how I said impulsivity very easily. For my lawyer days, I was able to pick up these words and say them really fast. Good one. The last. Very good. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
What did y'all think of the Lex cameo in Peacemaker?
I enjoyed it. It worked.
I thought it was good. I wished he wouldn't have rushed Superman out of the theater because it really don't tie in for a few. You know what I'm saying? For a while. So I wish they would have tried to kept it in theaters a little bit longer because over half the season really had nothing to do with the movie until you finally start bringing Lex and his cronies in. Then it ties in, and that's like
very much so.
2 months, beforehand that it should have stayed in theaters.
Yeah, but Chris, I think we wanted more people to watch Superman because a lot of people will wait until they got to HBO Max to watch it. And
what I read is that Gunn didn't know they were releasing Peacemaker as early as they were, which is sort of shocking. Since he's the head of DC, he's like, well, now we've got to get DC on a platform where people can see it because they connect. So that was an odd thing to see. I'm with you, Chris. They could have pushed peace. Look, I'm glad I got to watch it.
Yeah,
I'm glad we're here now and not a month from now. But I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I wish Superman had gotten a few more weeks in theaters, made another $20-30 million.
Yeah.
So
my tinfoil hat wearing fan.
Which one? Do you have many?
No, I have many. Here's my Peacemaker tinfoil hat.
Exactly.
My helmet, which kind of looks oddly like Orion, but anyway.
There we go.
I was thinking the reason why they cut Superman out so early was to kind of build up was to kind of like bolster the Max streaming service because Warner Bros. Is going through a bidding war right now, right? So if hey, I miss Tina. But I was just like, that was a move to just like, draw more people into the streaming service,
follow the money.
Streaming service, bolster it up. See, look how good our streaming service is. Well, the others are tanking, but they're trying to like draw more people in by,
I don't believe that
by fast tracking Superman into their streaming service.
Nah, it was only because he wanted more people to watch Superman so that they would understand what's happening in Peacemaker.
Yeah, on HBO Max. So,
Yeah, on HBO Max. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people don't go to the movies. I know a lot of people that I'm going to wait until it comes out on HBO Max.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know,
You know?
but that's what I mean. I think we're agreeing, Joe. Like if they took Superman out of the theaters, more people would then go to HBO Max, and then the numbers will look good for that streaming service, which will look good for the bidders at Netflix and
Well, at first they had
Paramount.
it so you could rent it, you know, for whatever
Sure.
that
Yeah.
charge was before HBO Max. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Now-
There's a question from the last. Did any of us
Yeah.
expect to see Keith return?
I did.
I was wondering. He
I
seemed
did.
like he was in a bad shape. I'm hoping we haven't seen the last of him.
Oh, I think it's
I
the
did.
birth of a supervillain.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
I did. Like, and that was another thing. Like,
Uh-oh. Another
Keith-
negative?
Keith, yeah, he shows Keith like recovering from his wounds, expecting to see more, but then he just drops it, and
Yeah, because
Move on to the next thing.
it's a story, Lenny. It's a story.
Story's
You
not
want
finished.
things cut out, then you want to put things come in. If he's
No, but I'm
gonna
saying,
be
like-
a supervillain, he'll be in. There's no season 3, right?
There's no
We know
season 3.
Peacemaker's, according to James Gunn, Peacemaker is important to his DCU story. So that
Yeah.
means everything that
There
goes
will be
with
more
Peacemaker is
I don't
an
know.
important part of the ongoing story.
Yeah.
And it could mean Keith
I
as
just
well.
wanted just a little bit more instead of these like weird.
I wanted
things.
less, but I wanted more. But Lenny, you just
I
want
wanted-
to rewrite to be
I
what
wanted
you wanted
I wanted
to be.
less of like some weird like unnecessary band performance of the music that we heard at the opening of each episode.
And
It's
he
like-
did that in season 1 too. Yeah, I
I love
hear
it.
you.
Like-
I get it.
Yeah, but
There were a
I've
lot
heard
of
that music
musical montages.
7 times before.
Oh, come
So-
on.
I was
Lenny.
okay with it. Yeah.
Well, see, I know Lenny didn't like the whole Michael Rooker
Nope.
panel.
No,
but
he
I'm a
didn't.
huge,
No.
I'm a
That was
huge
fantastic.
Michael
Pointless.
Rooker fan.
Yeah.
So am I.
Especially-
I love
especially
him in
from
Walking
Walking
Dead. Yes.
And I love how the Eagles eat him like it was zombies. I was just like, perfect. How they killed him. I loved it.
Eagly is the what was he called?
Prime
The
Eagle.
Master? Prime Eagle.
Prime
The
Eagle.
Prime
Prime
Eagle.
Eagle.
Wait, he's an eagle? I thought it was a parrot.
I thought he's a hummingbird.
You suffer from
Oh.
bird blindness as well.
So it is a real thing.
It is. It is. And
Make
look,
a
some of
tiny
that
pill
stuff
for
was
that.
weird, and that's James Gunn humor, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to realize
So you guys
there's
know
gonna
where
be
I'm
a
coming
healthy
from.
dose of that, whether you find it
It's-
funny or not.
you-
I think he's hit or miss. I think he hits more than he misses, but sometimes it's like maybe not as funny as you thought. But you know what? Some
Yeah.
people it hits their funny bone a
You
little
know,
harder.
Dave,
Yeah.
so.
Dave, I'm beginning to understand, that of all like our endless times we've argued over Superman snapping Zod's neck,
Right.
I understand how you feel, but it's as if
It's a
every time
humorous problem.
every time I see like this drawn out James Gunn humor dialogue, I'm
2-minute
transported.
bird blindness joke.
I'm transported. My soul just levitates and just transfers to the moment when Dave saw Superman snap Zod's neck. I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah. This doesn't fit. And look, Gunn does that, and we've talked about that on multiple.
Sure.
I
yeah.
remember when we first talked about James Gunn taking over, one of our concerns was there are times when he takes characters that are lower on the, they're C-listers or D-listers. He just does whatever he wants with them. Like
Mhm.
Adrian Chase Vigilante in the show is nothing like Adrian Chase Vigilante in the comic books at
right.
all.
Watch
Hawkgirl and
Arrow.
Superman,
Watch Arrow.
But-
You'll see a very different Adrian Chase in Arrow.
Yeah, absolutely. But so James Gunn sometimes is like he'll throw away everything, that character's backstory and canon and history and character and everything, and like here's the person that looks like them with their name, but they're totally different and they're going to do what I want them to do.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
happens.
Yes, for all of us except for Lenny.
Yeah, no, I want more. Yeah.
No, my question. Okay, so what do you think
Look,
about what?
the
What? Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
look, the 8th
You have the
episode
content.
was left us a little bit wanting, pretty much because 6 and 7 were like so tremendous.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
And,
6
and I
and
still
7, yeah.
believe that 7 could have been the ending, and that 8 was there, as Dave said, to fill in the blanks and to set up what comes next.
Mhm.
That's the reason he did it. You may not like that, right? But that's, in my view, that's why he did it. As a matter of fact, he came out and basically said that. That's
Yeah.
why that's the
So-
whole salvation arc, and
Yeah.
getting to that point It was important for the DCU going forward. So in that respect, I'm anxious to see what happens. I'm anxious to see also whether or not Keith comes back. I'm anxious to see what happens to Peacemaker. What was that noise? Like, it sounded like a dinosaur type of noise. It's there.
Creatures.
Yeah.
I've read the comic.
So Dave, having read the comic, where do you think Man of Tomorrow picks up where this season left off?
So, all right.
Just speculation. I mean,
because here's the thing: Superman.
Actually, I want to come back to this when we see Man tomorrow. I want to come back to this episode.
Superman doesn't really factor in, if I remember. He's not in Salvation Run. Martian Manhunter is, but in a different role. If you guys want me to spoil it, I'll spoil it.
No, because I want to read it when we're done. Don't spoil it.
Well, when I watched that, I'm like, James Gunn just took a mini series from I think 2008, 2009, and shot it up on the key list. Because everybody's going to be like, wait a minute. And I don't have the comics. I had the trade. Obviously, that's me. I thought it was a pretty good story.
Trader.
And this is a prison planet. We throw tons of villains from the DC universe. They form factions. There are killer creatures that we didn't know about on this planet. We thought it was sort of a blank canvas, there's nothing here. And there are creatures that will murder you here. And they try and survive, and I won't spoil any more how Martian Manhunter is involved, but I thought it was a pretty interesting story. And now that I've seen this, I'm like, I don't know how they tie Superman in. Honestly, the way I want to tie him in is that they double cross Lex Luthor and throw Superman and throw them both onto that planet with a ton of other villains and metahumans. Like,
was Brainiac in
I don't recall Brainiac being in it. It was more, this came out in like 2008 or 2009.
That's why I didn't read it, because
I've read it.
Yeah, that was my dark ages of comic collecting.
It's been a long time.
I discovered Girls.
Joker was there. Lex Luthor was there.
Yeah.
The villains. I mean, it became a powder keg. They threw all these horrible human beings onto this planet to survive, and they can't get along because they're supervillains. They're totally amoral and evil, so it becomes this,
Survivor kind of.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, let's go on to something else, I think, because we're killing this part, but I do want to mention one last thing about Rick and Peacemaker. The whole thing of getting in with Luthor, basically it's because Luthor wants this planet to put the metahumans in there for the reasons we discussed, right? But Peacemaker is not a metahuman. So this is the pure revenge of Rick Flag Sr.
Yeah.
Because that's his whole point, And so in that respect, when he's there, he's sitting there, and whatever these creatures are, which I'm going to go to my library app and take it out and read the Salvation arc. But you take a look at that, you're saying to yourself, what's he going to do? How's he going to survive there? And so the practicality of seeing how bad or evil you want to say that Rick Sr., Rick Flag Sr. has become is evident in the fact that he puts him in this Salvation prison, and even though he's not a metahuman, and that was the whole purpose of it, that he told the government and all this. But let's move, if it's okay with you guys, into the Smith family dynamic here.
Very cool. I was going to say one last thing about Rick Flag Sr., if that's
okay. He's giving us the finger. All right, go.
All right. No, it's his finger. No, but if you look at the story from his point of view, he's created a prison planet that will keep the world safe, and he's taking care of the guy who murdered his son and got away with it. Because let's be honest, he murdered someone. He didn't really serve time for that. Like, from his perspective, he's the good guy. And I get it. I don't agree with it because this is Peacemaker's story. But if that show were titled Rick Flag Sr., we'd be like, okay, he did it.
Well, Luthor thought he was a good guy too.
That's the thing about
most super villains think that way.
No, but it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, that's all right. So it's an interesting. I just want to bring his prediction up, so you can see what's there. Lex and Rick trap Clark in Salvation with criminals. Peacemaker acts as a guide. They
That's
escape,
kind of what we were
but the
saying.
QUC use alerts Brainiac. Salvation conclusion is safe for
Okay,
the third
Brainiac
film.
thing, yeah.
Could be.
And
Could
Joe,
be.
when you
That's
look it up, it's called Salvation Run.
Run. Okay. Good
Salvation
enough.
Run.
So now how about the Smith family? I mean, the thing that really amazed me was that his dad ended up not being a Nazi, being actually a good guy, but
Yeah.
but somebody didn't realize that and killed him. I mean, I think that was like, I was like sitting there saying, what? Because I'm listening to this and going, oh, this is interesting. All of a sudden, Vigilante window and starts slamming him. And I'm saying,
which one though?
No.
Which Vigilante?
I was upset over it. I was upset over it.
Yeah. And Vigilante, let's be honest, he is a psychopath. He's not a good guy. He was talking about murdering a judge's family to get him out. Like, he's funny, but if you really think about it, he's just a psycho. He's no different. He's kind of Jokerish in a certain kind of way.
Yeah. And he and Peacemaker were pretty much like this in the beginning. That's why they were attracted to each other. The Peacemaker has gone a whole nother way. Yeah. And Vigilante is still the same. He's still the same. Yeah. But his family, Chris's family, I mean, they were heroes in this Nazi world, and well regarded and all of that.
Right.
But it seems that Keith, because maybe he was chasing Obadiah around and all that. I mean, he's more in the Nazi realm than I forgot the father's name, just out of my head. But
Augie.
Yeah, Augie. And Augie was, because Augie gave this nice speech at the beginning, like, I'm in this world, I'm doing the best that I can. I don't agree with this stuff, but I'm doing what I can to make things as good as they can be.
Right.
And Keith even looked at his father at that time and was like, what are you saying? So Keith seemed to be more of somebody who grew up in that area and was indoctrinated by all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that dimensions Peacemaker was worse, because he was basically like the old Peacemaker, maybe even worse because he was on drugs, and basically doing what he wanted to do. Because
and remember, I'm saying
he seemed upset that he was dead.
I was just gonna say that, and remember, it was Germany won World War II, right? So basically,
on that earth,
yeah. So there was a time before where it wasn't that. So I guess Augie, or the dad, had to like just go along with it, much like Vigilante's dad in this world had to just suppress his maybe homosexual tendencies just to like survive and stay married to his mother in X. So
yeah.
And think about how like patriotic / nationalistic Peacemaker was in Suicide Squad. Like, I'll murder everyone to keep the peace, for my country, do it for country. Yeah. Well, think about if that country's like America, who lost World War II, and it's a Nazi regime.
Yeah, way over the top.
He was a bad dude. Peacemaker, Earth X was a bad guy.
Yeah.
And Augie kind of alluded to that.
Yeah, he did.
And we saw that. He just straight up didn't want to listen to him, tried to murder him. And, really when our Peacemaker killed him, it was self-defense.
Yeah.
He was just, this guy's trying to murder me. I'm trying to get him off me, and boom.
Because they've seen Augie, like I said, Augie's probably seen the world before the Nazi takeover. So he was
close
just like
enough to it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So he kind of like, this is what you're doing, son, is not, but I can't.
He didn't seem upset that his son was dead.
No.
I think that goes to Dave's point, where he just like the uber nationalistic Peacemaker in this world was very violent, and
I think he loved his son. I think he recognized what his son was. And so, I don't know if I'd say he wasn't sad, but he also recognized, I believe my son tried to murder this nicer, better version of my son and got himself killed.
Which is funny because in both worlds now, both fathers did not agree with their son, with Chris, because in Chris's real world, he saw Chris as soft, and I didn't raise a son like
he's a white supremacist.
Yeah. So, but now in this version, he still doesn't like his son, for even though completely different reasons, but
Yeah.
sentiments are the same.
Yeah.
Well, and Lenny, they also name dropped Bloodhaven.
Yes,
I thought that was cool.
Bloodhaven.
Bloodhaven.
Bloodhaven. I don't know. I don't know what does that umlaut
Umlaut.
over the
Umlaut.
two. Bloodhaven.
I don't know.
They dropped a lot of stuff there. I mean, it's kind of cool to hear and see. I know as a DC fan, it's kind of cool to hear and see some of that. And when the last was saying, are you looking forward to new stuff and all that, coming out? Yeah, because you hear these things and you say to yourself, there's a whole friggin' world out there.
That's why, you guys tease me about being a Snyder fan, but I'm not also a boycott James Gunn guy. I still watch it because I love DC stuff, so.
And then you can complain about it after you watch things. Zack Snyder would have done it better. We get it. We get it.
What did you say about the episode 7? Was it you said it was your favorite because James Gunn didn't direct it?
Yeah. Yes. Well, I mean, he didn't direct a lot of the episodes, but
there's some good slow-mo in Peacemaker. I mean, that's Snyder-ish.
But it's like
very Snyder-ish.
Because episode 7 was like probably one of the shortest episodes. I think. I don't know. I have to check that, but it felt like really fast. Like there was no meandering jokes about animals, and it's like. That's why part of the reason why I liked it a lot, and of course it's a very potent episode. So, and it was well set up by 6, and 6, set up real well. So that's my thing. Like if it had just a little bit more editing, a little more compression with episode numbers, a little more, it would have been really good. A little more.
Do you think when they were opening the doors when they opened the zombie world? Do you think that was deceased?
I knew you were going to go there, Chris.
Yeah, they opened it and I was fired up. I'm like, that's the deceased universe.
Or that's a callback to when Snyder and James Gunn worked together.
It could have been.
So
yeah,
I'll take that. I'll take it. If that's the reason.
Well, do we want to talk at all about Checkmate or Argus? I mean, what's gonna happen with Argus going forward?
Well, because we're still is the Mando Waller show still happening, or you guys know?
I forgot. I think I read something where
what show?
Waller show.
There's supposed to be a Waller show.
Peacemaker.
The Waller show is still supposed to happen.
Going?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe she'll take over Checkmate because she's in comics. She's the one.
She's
what I know from Checkmate, it's what I read from the Leviathan. Like Bendis did a run. Like
I forgot all about that one.
Yeah, Checkmate was very involved in that story.
Okay.
That I don't know the 80s version of Checkmate, but Waller was really in charge of it, and maybe that's where she comes in. Like having since Rick Flags taking over Argus, and maybe she's pissed that she got her own daughter kind of,
Waller's one of the people who runs Checkmate in Smallville too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Saying.
Yeah. So
it's got to go bad because it was bought with blood cursed money.
Exactly. That was hilarious. I'm sorry. Look, I know James Gunn does some stuff where I'm like, okay, maybe trying a little too hard or just being a little too odd. That was freaking hilarious. That was awesome. That his basement's just stacked with money and drugs from him murdering drug dealers and just taking their stuff.
That
was awesome.
I thought when the portal opened in Chase's basement and all the cocaine exploded, I thought they were gonna be all like high and just like go berserk.
Yeah. It was.
Then the drug dog in Earth X gets hardcore. I thought that was funny. It tied in. That was good humor.
It was.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Yeah.
So the last thing's that Checkmate is going to take the place of the Waller series.
Okay, that's right.
The series.
Maybe that is the Waller series, but they're going to call it Checkmate. Maybe
Yeah. But no Peacemaker.
Yeah, because Waller and also Viola Davis, they're such they're so big that to just put them under the rug like that and not use them again, I think it'll be a waste.
Yeah, it'd be a shame.
It should be back. It's definitely be back.
Yeah.
So, is there any other thing during the series that jumped out at you guys? I do want to talk about the opening dance a little bit, but before I get to that,
music.
Is there anything else that you guys want to bring up about the series? I mean, I think we did have some spoilers, but we were pretty good with not really getting deeply into them, I think. So
Sure. Yeah.
That's just because we forgot what happened in the first few episodes because 2 months ago. So
Tim Meadows' character was hilarious.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness!
plenty
Every time
of
he was
like-
on the scene, yeah, I loved him.
yeah.
Um,
was
he was too much of a filler.
Yeah,
for Lenny.
yeah. Lenny probably didn't like him. I thought it was funny.
cut, delete.
The supporting characters were awesome. I thought. I mean, the
It
cast.
all set up the last thing between him and Vigilante when he took over, asking Vigilante questions about the animals or insects or whatever
Their
else.
office. Yeah.
All of his other appearances was set up just for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's so good.
Vigilante
More,
with
please.
Vigilante scene was amazing. I loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
That was really good, I have to say.
the Spider-Man pointing.
So
Yeah.
good.
Well,
So
actually,
good.
I'm glad you brought that up. So does that beg to say that Spider-Man exists in this universe?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
In
I know-
cartoons and comic books.
Yeah,
Maybe.
It's just like in the MCU, they mentioned stuff about the
Yeah,
DC
in,
people
Yeah,
that- they're
Superman
in the
comic
comic books.
books,
Yeah.
yeah.
Eternals. Yeah, they mentioned a bunch of these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting. It was like, wait, they're referring a Marvel character in this world.
yeah.
And
So it
James
begs
Gunn.
to-
Yeah.
I'm
James
sorry, go
Gunn. I was just going to say, Joe had asked about something else. I thought James Gunn did the James Gunn thing where he populated the entire series with like
his friends.
offbeat music,
Oh,
his kind of,
Mhm.
and there's some pretty wild stuff in there. So, and that'll
Yeah.
kind of lead us if you want to go back to the openings with the music he chose for that.
Well, I thought we'd kind of end with the opening because
Okay.
to me, I mean, who was I talking with you, Lenny? I was talking to somebody, and we were saying that we think that he might be on Earth X.
Mhm.
You know, I was trading some stuff with somebody. I can't forget who it was now,
Oh.
and said he might be on Earth X. And I said, yeah, I was thinking it could be something like that, but Earth X, I don't know. But
Well, the Harcourt, definitely Harcourt. She was wearing the clothing of the Harcourt from Earth X.
right.
So,
For me, what tipped me off, there's like this wide shot of like the scene like after Chris finally like comes across Hardcore of that world, and they were just like having this kind of date, but Gunn really stuck on this wide shot, and it's like, and then I noticed like there's something weird in this world, like something's like, it's like, and it seems like the pretty white people are in the background a lot, so I was like, maybe
I did notice that.
yeah,
I noticed it too.
Watch it again, like immediately after the Argus scene. I didn't go like, oh, Earth X. I didn't do that, but I'm just like something's really weird with this world.
Well, you knew that had to
scene.
happen because since Peacemaker thought it was a perfect world, it had to be not perfect. I mean, there had to be something there. The thing that the thing that crossed my mind, and this is after my friend said he thought it could be on Earth X. I started watching. I went back and watched a couple of things. Every time there was an American flag on a desk, you could never see the blue star part. Only you saw the stripes. And I only went back because they mentioned that, and I said, "Let me see if I see some hints." And that was the only one because they didn't have the Mein Kampf thing. They didn't show that. They didn't.
Yeah.
If they did, I didn't notice.
That was a great sight gag when they're
That
like,
was
"How did you not
yeah.
notice this? How did you not
and then
notice
the big-
that?"
The big
Like that
poster
was
with the big
Simpsons-esque. That was
mural.
awesome.
Yeah, So
How did you not notice the huge Nazi mural behind
If you watch that episode though, like they've shot around the room, Argus, and it wasn't
Right.
there, but obviously it was done for a joke.
Yeah.
It was funny.
It's a little bit different, right? The multiverse. I have to say the MCU one I was getting tired of. This one might become tiring. I think they've hit on it, with the different doors and all that. But I think they have to move on from it relatively quickly. They can't make this kind of the be all and end all of the next 4 or 5 movies.
And this was used really differently.
It
Usually it's more about the plot. This was more about his character. So I was okay with that.
This one though, like Dave, the way they use multiverse in this area, in this world, I guess, it's less convoluted than the MCU. Like, You know, with the what's the, I forget what's the called the group in Marvel
Illuminati.
No. They're in charge of the timeline, and they're the ones that poke people.
Oh, the time. Yeah,
Okay.
the TG, not TGI.
Oh yeah.
The TVA, yeah. The
Yes,
whole like
thank you,
pruning of like
Yeah.
their take on the multiverse is so convoluted, in my opinion.
like there's
It's
so
like,
many.
yeah, not
Yeah.
just but there's like
And then how they
we got to prune
handle it.
this and that.
We
But
cut
here,
that, eliminate this. Yeah.
but in this world, it was used like the fun version of a different multiverse. Like, you know, like what if it's more like a what if, and then they made a story point out of it, which is easier to digest.
My only point is they used it in Superman. It happens here, and it'll probably go on. But I think it's got to be part of this whole storyline, and they've got to start to step away from it in some ways.
Sure.
You know, they can't just keep doing it. That's the problem with the MCU, is they've been going and all their movies have been less popular in some ways because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it reached maybe an apogee or a peak with Spider-Man and then Doctor Strange. But that was like 2 movies.
Yeah.
But then when they tried to continue it, it just started going on a downward spiral. I don't think you can do that. I think here you're right. It's done differently. It's part of the storyline. What I liked about Peacemaker and even Superman was it was an integral part of the story of both of them. But you can't keep going back to that, I think. You got to somehow take what you've got and move on to something else.
The multiverses was easily it's accessible to general people. Like, oh, there's another world, walking through a portal and you're there. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's not like I said before, like, oh, there's like this big, you know, story behind it about Kang and multiverse, and you know, it was like it was so
of Kangs.
or like oh, we got to prune this, like what's some other terms what's that term they keep referring to, is like it's like we got to prune this timeline because it kills other timelines, or you know, it's so like if you missed Loki, you'd be like, what's going on about the timeline, you know?
And to the last point, the problem is in the multiverse is the way it's used, without a doubt. I mean, because some of Marvel's biggest movies and most, you know, well-received films are multiverse films. The Spider-Man film, the Deadpool film, you know, like those are Deadpool's over $1 billion, Spider-Man's over $2 billion. It came down to we used the characters that people loved in a way that they enjoyed. And I thought Peacemaker did a great job with it. And I liked that while they used the multiverse, they used the Earth X twist later, even though there were clues. Like I noticed that. I'm like, everybody on this planet seems to be white. That's weird. You know, something's up with that. And I liked the fact that they had, you know, Nazi America revealed later, that he didn't just walk into it and the camera pans up and shows you that it's that. I like that they slowly unspooled that.
Yeah. And I'm just glad DC is reclaiming the multiverse.
Yeah.
Because we started that, baby.
Oh yeah, we did.
The Flash of Two Worlds.
As if we were writing it for DC.
But you weren't? So let's get to the opening and then we can finish up, I guess. But all right. So I know that Lenny didn't like the song, but I like I told you, I was watching each episode and this song grew on me, you know. But
I just didn't like sing it a majority of an episode. That's what I didn't like.
I'm not putting it on a mixed CD the way I did with "Do You Really Want to Taste It?"
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. Hold on to this.
Yeah. No.
Wait. Let me just play this part.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on a minute. I don't know if this will work, but let me try it. So that's more like from, you know, I brought that up only because you see some of the same movements, but he made, if you look at their movements, we played some of this in the beginning. I didn't want to play the whole thing. I'm not sure even if they're going to object to this, you know, you don't know. But when they went through, tube socks. Yeah. When they went through it, I think if you remember the first season, I know it's hard, but the dance, if you look at it, it's almost like they're doing butterfly type of movements.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
this dance with all of the corners,
Yeah,
you know,
Ah,
and even
yeah.
some of this,
yeah.
you know, I mean, look, watch it again. I think
Yeah,
that
I
that's a
need to.
subtle plot
There's
giveaway.
so
Interesting.
so
I
so
didn't notice when
Joe.
they did it. But after when it was over, and I went and took a look at it, I said, huh. Because I remember someone saying that the first movie, the first season, that they were doing butterflies, which of course didn't dawn on me. And I went back to look at it, I go, oh yeah, I guess it could be. So then I went back to this. I said, are they doing Nazi stuff? And I said, yeah, it's like this and like this. I said, oh. So that's,
Good
I
pickup.
think that
So-
I've kind of read about it, and a lot of people agree with that.
Okay.
So Joe, they've introduced Peacemaker. I forgot what video game it was, but they animated the dance.
Oh, it was
And then-
Fortnite.
Fortnite, thank you. Chris.
Fortnite. Right.
But then when they released episode 7,
Hold it.
they quickly pulled it because they realized the dance move was that he was doing akin to, you know, the symbol, and it's like, let's get rid of that.
Mm.
So it became very controversial for.
Yeah, I saw that. It said it's here, Fortnite controversy. The interpretation gained significant attention after the video game Fortnite released an emote based on the dance. Following the show's plot reveal, Fortnite disabled the emote, stating that they would, quote, inquire into our partner's creative intentions, and later modified the choreography, quote, to avoid any confusion, which seemed to validate the public's perception of the dance's hidden meaning, even if unintentionally on their part.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think it was intentional.
Yeah.
I think he did that intentionally for people to look at and go back and say, damn, he was telling us what
Wait a
this is
minute.
all about all
Yeah.
along.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
I thought it was pretty
Now,
cool.
Yeah.
I thought
Foxy
that was-
Shazam, I'm pretty sure that was James Gunn's #1 artist on Spotify last year.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it done the
I was
recap,
a big fan.
and I think he was his #1 band.
Guys, we got to talk about the multiversal implications of his favorite band being Foxy Shazam. Now, does Shazam exist? Like, what? Wait a minute.
What? Oh no. Maybe the lead singer becomes
Billy Bats.
Shazam.
Lightning never hit that guy every time he said it. So
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
I don't know. Could be.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
I love
Hey,
it.
and what
And
a
their
throwback
roadie's
to
Black Adam.
what a throwback to Nelson. I never thought Nelson would be on
Oh,
stage
gee.
doing a live
Oh.
song.
Oh, thanks for reminding me, Chris, why I didn't like episode 8.
That
you're
was-
welcome.
That was kind of wild because I
Jeez.
guess I didn't realize they had stuff
Yeah.
much later, and that's what I watched. By the way, if you watch Peacemaker and you like Peacemaker on HBO at Max, there's like an hour-long follow-up
Lenny.
podcast episode after every single episode. You can get a
Yeah.
lot of behind-the-scenes
It's
stuff.
on YouTube too, I think.
Oh, okay. And he was talking about his love of like 2010 Nelson CDs and how
Yes.
good they were. I'm like, I remember their hits in the late 80s. That's interesting.
That's it.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
so Gunn gets a pass when he uses bands he likes, when Zack Snyder uses Icelandic folk songs and is Justice League. He's like, oh, cut that out.
Oh, Lenny. Oh, Lenny. You're just embarrassing yourself, buddy.
More Icelandic maidens singing to Aquaman.
We still love you, buddy.
Hashtag.
We still love you.
So
This is an intervention, Lenny.
yeah, I know.
Public YouTube intervention.
Oh, that's why you made this live
Now-
show. It's
Exactly.
Now, Lenny,
intervention.
I do agree with you. I do think that the 8th episode that had the 30-minute James Gunn soundtrack video montage, I was not a fan of. So
Yeah.
we agree, sir.
Yeah.
That was hard to say too, man.
I think he just wanted to get the Salvation Run arc there, and he put filler in for a lot of and filling in some of the blanks, and then he had
Yeah.
to fill in the rest of it
But
so
that-
he get like 30, we get some
But
time out of it.
wouldn't that be made a great post credits for episode 7, and not have us sit through an hour just to get to that point?
I liked seeing, like I
Yeah.
said, I like the prologue / epilogue aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's not, I didn't enjoy it in the same way I did 6 and 7,
Yeah.
but I did like the finale. I'm like, this did not go how I expected. It wasn't what I anticipated, but I really liked seeing the boat scene.
Right.
Like I liked
Yeah.
understanding what happened, what what freaked Harcourt out so much.
Yeah, that was good.
You know, I really enjoyed
What
a
I
lot
did
of
like though, what I did like about that, I think it's more
Yeah.
potent than the boat scene for me. Was that episode 6 when they were on the motorcycle, and
Oh
she just like
yeah. They
she just
thought she
like
was
I like that better. It was so subtle and like I was like so like not on the nose, when it's like okay, they're you know Chris finally is getting what he wants, like really, not just
Yeah.
like falling in love with a fake avatar or like a Nazi version
Right.
of her, like.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice touch, but
I
It
do
was. I
like
liked it too. It was a great moment.
Yeah.
the
This series had
restaurant
a
they
lot
ate at.
and it wasn't directed by James Gunn. Sorry, go ahead.
So
the
ahead.
restaurant,
Go ahead,
Big Belly Burger from
Chris.
CW. I mean,
Yeah.
Barry and them was
Yes.
always eating the Big Belly Burger.
Yes,
straight from
yes,
the
yes,
comics.
yes.
And then
yes,
I did love the interaction with the man that was coming in with the freckles.
yes.
And the
Yeah, yeah.
interaction between him and Hardcore was hilarious.
My mom
No.
told me to be proud of him.
Now, a lot of stuff that's missing for me with a lot of James Gunn stuff is the action, like action scenes. Even in Superman, there was some, but the action scene in when Chris took out the soldiers of what are they called? Soldiers of
Sons of Liberty.
Sons of Liberty.
Yep.
First of all, not knowing that they're kind of the good guys.
It's the second
But-
time it's happened. He did it in
Yeah.
Suicide Squad too.
Yeah, sure, yeah. But the way, that was a good action
Yeah.
set piece, because I'm
Right.
a big action fan too.
No,
So
yeah, you know what? That's where I'm not going to disagree with you. I think if there's a little bit more action at times
yeah,
in certain moments, I'd have been cool with that. It is the
Yeah.
superhero genre that's sort of innate to it.
yeah, yeah.
But
Superman comes from Action Comics.
yeah, kind of the
I
title.
agree. I agree with that
Um,
too. Yeah.
Does everyone want to go around, maybe give a grade for the series? Joe, is that cool?
Yeah, we can do that. And I also, although the last kind of beat me to it,
All right.
I wanted to also go through. Maybe we can give a grade, and then we can discuss. Since there's not going to be, according to Gunn, a Peacemaker season 3, but Peacemaker is critically important to the DCU going forward. How do we see him using Peacemaker going forward? Now, the last mentioned that he, what he thought the situation might be, but maybe we can comment on that too. So we can give it a grade. Dave, why don't you start off, because your grade will probably be a reasonable one before we get to.
Honestly, I suggested it and I'm not ready with it. By the way, guys, we didn't do a ton of prep for this episode. No. I honestly, if I were being pretty rough, I'd probably give it an A-, but I don't have a problem giving it an A- or an A. Like, I thought it was a really good series. Like I said, I liked season 1. I like this one significantly better. I'm good in that A area. I thought it was excellent.
Okay. Chris?
B-. I liked it less than Superman.
How about compared to season 1? How
That's a good question. I liked it better than season 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm B-.
Okay.
Lenny?
I'll give it a C. Because I mean, like I said,
You gave Superman a C+, I think, didn't you?
yeah. So it's reasonable, right? I mean, like it's because like a lot of the editing stuff, they kind of like nitpicks. Joe thinks of it as nitpicks, or they're just whatever. But I did enjoy like the 6 and 7 were fantastic episodes. It makes up for how much I dislike 8. And I think it's a good follow up to the first season, and the intro song grew on me. So yeah, a C. Like I give it a C. It's not a D or a fail. It's like
Well, I wasn't thinking in terms of ABC, so I think more in terms of 10.
1 to 10.
Yeah, 1 to 10. But if I would go over that, I think I would be pretty much maybe on an A- as well. I think that episodes 6 and 7 were some of the best superhero television that I have ever seen, MCU or DC. I mean, just fantastic acting, fantastic story,
Yep.
And I do think that there's a need to build up to that.
Yeah.
So 1 through 5, although not as good, I think really set it up well. Now, the reason I don't give it an A or an A plus, whatever, is because of 8. I do think that 8 was important for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you could put it all in a post-credit scene, but I think they might have been able to include, maybe make it shorter, as Lenny had indicated he wanted for most of the episodes. But I think it was important to get some of the past stuff to fill it in, but he might have been able to do that differently, you know? And then the whole scene with him being taken and sent over to the Salvation Land. I don't know. I'm trying to remember now. They established checkmate. Was that in episode 8 or was it 7?
8.
It was 8.
It was 8. So there was reason to have an episode 8, right?
Yeah, there's a lot.
You know, there's a reason to have
This wasn't
episode 8.
superhero-y.
Yeah, but there was a lot of filler and stuff like that, and I think he might have been able to make it a little bit better, you know, than he did. So, but I think the build up to 6 and 7, and 6 and 7 was just so good. I don't know how anybody could give it a C. The whole thing. I mean, that 6 and 7 should be enough to bring it up at least to B level, Lenny. At least.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we're talking about grading the season, right? Not just 2 episodes. So what about the other episodes? You know,
I just told you.
I thought they were pretty good. I mean,
1
6
to
and 7 were
good,
the
and
apex.
built up
I
to
thought you
6.
just keep saying 6, but 6.
See,
Even your kids telling you your opinion's lousy.
Yeah, I told them not to watch it, but you know they're watching it behind. They have their own.
Are they
phones
watching
now.
the first one?
Oh,
Yeah,
What
they
are
have
all
their-
those people doing, and why aren't they wearing any clothes?
It's a slumber party, kids.
Exactly.
Adults
clothes
when they
are really
do slumber
dirty.
parties. Yeah, it's like
It's a Tide commercial.
Exactly.
yes, yep, yes.
Oh boy.
But
Anyway.
I was gonna say.
All right, guys. So I think it's kind of typical. I don't know if we're ever going to get a B out of Lenny for a James Gunn story. We have to wait for like Lanterns or something.
Yes,
We're
that's what I'm
going
saying. That's why I'm
involved.
really excited for the following properties because Clayface, Supergirl, and
Lanterns.
Lanterns are not James Gunn.
He's going to they're all going to get B's and A's.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're going to start off at B because James Gunn is not involved in the creative process.
This one reminded me of Zack Snyder's version.
Yeah.
A plus.
Yes. Yes. Especially Girl Tomorrow Watch.
All right, guys. This is really good. Really fun. Thanks a lot, Dave, Pretty Fly Chris, as always. I love when we have these sessions and talk about the DCU stuff. But let's wait a minute. Les says he gives it 8 out of 10. All right. Putting hype aside, I didn't hate the finale. It did feel like an epilogue, yeah. But the only problem is that I didn't get the cue that the climax had finished. 6 and 7 shine.
Agreed.
I
Yep,
agree.
I get that.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's
Perfect. All right. And so thanks again for people who stood by us, all 2, 3, or 4 of you that watched it live. And for the people that watch it on replay, let us know in the comments whether you agree with Lenny, you know, or you agree more with me, Dave, or Chris. All right. That's what I really want to know. That's the most important part of having this. I will be back again. I'm not sure when, because, you know, DC Watch is an episodic type of approach to things. But we will be back, and we'll be talking about more DC stuff, you know, when we decide that we want to, I guess.
Now, if James Gunn added more Sacha Bordeaux in his movies, then I'll probably bump that C to maybe a B minus.
Well, you know, but she's probably going to be going out with, you know, other, you know.
Well, she plays Checkmate's. She's well connected with Checkmate, so might be
right, but she's not fully human anymore, right?
Yeah, this whole like OMAC weird cyborg thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's probably going to go out with Cyborg, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Read Final
Lenny,
Crisis.
She did dump Rick Flag Sr., so now you have a shot at that fictional character.
Until Cyborg comes in.
She did go out with Bruce Wayne, though, so.
Forgot.
And I know Lenny was wanting a Cat Grant cameo too. That would have
that would have pushed it over to the
now
8.
a Cat Grant's Bordeaux spinoff.
There we go. I know this guy.
Lenny,
do you really want it? No, I'm not gonna get.
Lenny, write the treatment and submit it.
Let's do it.
You're right there.
Well, okay, Dave gets when the figures come out for those characters. We'll do like a little action figure.
There you go.
Spinoff.
It'll be both talking about how hot Lenny is.
Oh,
Yes.
perfect.
Yes. So you did see the
Can I
treatment.
be one of the voices, please? Oh, Lenny.
All right. I don't like where this is going now.
Neither does your wife.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
We'll say good night
Have a
to you.
good
We'll
night.
see you again real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.